Hi everybody, welcome back to the Ultimate Master course for Excel Dashboard Analytics. We're now in chapter 7 of the Super Pro series. So today it will be really about modifying your macros, or what we call the VBA, which is the coding language for macros in Excel. Okay, so a quick recap from the previous few chapters. We learned how to pimp up your dashboard using macros, how to make it very interactive for users. You can just insert a couple of buttons, add in some macros, and it works amazing on your dashboard, alright? You can just toggle it just the way you want your dashboard to look. You can even export it to PDF, to PowerPoint, email. There's so many different things you can do with those buttons you have. So it creates a very interactive, a very smart interface for your dashboard. And that's just that extra step you want to do if you want to create an impressive looking dashboard. Okay, so in this chapter, chapter 7, we're going to dive deeper into the world of macros, learn how to modify macros, just in case that it's not a macro that you have built, but it's a macro that is given to you by someone else, and you want to learn how to modify them. Okay, so I'm going to show you how you can open up the Visual Basic Editor, which is the interface, how you can modify those macros, and also go through this step-through function method to make any changes to those macros. And lastly, if it's a macro that you do not want, how are you going to delete it? Alright, so there's quite a lot to cover in this chapter today. I'm going to quickly just dive right back into Excel. Okay, so this is where we left off from the previous chapter. We've got all the macros created on your right hand side. Now, how are you going to modify your macros? Let's say, for instance, you publish it to PowerPoint, but it's not working up so well. Alright, let's say you put it to PowerPoint, but the range is showing inappropriately. How do you do that? Okay, it's really very simple. First, go back to Excel, press alternate F8 on your keyboard. Okay, that's the shortcut, alternate F8. Alternatively, if you don't want to go to the shortcut, you want to understand where is it exactly located, click on the developer tab and then click on macros. Okay, so now once you have this small little window popped up, you can see all the range of all the macros you currently have in your Excel that is open right now. So click on any one of them that you want to make changes. So let's say the Excel range to PowerPoint macro is not working so well. You want to make some changes to that macro. So click on the edit button and straight away it pops up the VBA script of the macro. So at this stage, you see that, it looks very tacky. It seems like you need to know some coding language to really understand the macro. The truth is, it's not true, alright? Anyone can really understand the macro. You just go from top to bottom and do a step-by-step method. Okay, so in this case, this macro is really trying to port an Excel range to PowerPoint, and we create several objects in this macro. And then all this green text here, these are not really the codes, alright? These are just as a remark to describe what exactly the code is all about. And actually, that's a very good practice you should do when you're doing your macros, so that it gives you an idea what exactly is that line talking about. Okay, so as I mentioned, like when you're dealing with macros, the key things to understand of the macro is that there are certain variables inside that it's important to take note of and what to make changes. For instance, the range. In this case, you are trying to port over a selected range in Excel to PowerPoint. So the range, of course, is something that you can change, right? In this case, it's N1 to AV46. That was exactly the range of the dashboard. If I put in a different range, let's say I put in AV32, okay? And then I close the macro. Now, to close the macro, the way to do it, you can actually just close this window, or you can just press alternate Q on your keyboard, and that will close it. Okay, I click on it again. There, right? That's how you make some changes to the macro. But of course, in that case, the previous macro was already done properly, and then now we kind of altered the range so that it's not showing up the full range. Okay, so that one you can very quickly just fix that up, AV46. And just scrolling down the VBA script as well, just look at what is it exactly saying, alright? So for instance, application screen updating. If you put false, then the screen will not update whenever there's any changes in variables. I guess this part here is important, the setting of the shape. So the sequence of the VBA script works in a way that you are firstly selecting the range that you have in mind, and then you copy and you open up PowerPoint if it's not open, and then you copy it and then you paste it in PowerPoint. Now when you paste it in PowerPoint, there is this selected positioning that you want. So in this case, if you want to fill up the full PowerPoint, you can just try negative 0.1 or negative 0.1 on the left and the top so that it's aligned with the top left most corner as its pivot point, and then it just captures the full width. And then like PowerPoint visible equals true, it means that it will show PowerPoint the moment you launch this macro. And given that you've copied and pasted it, this application cut copy mode is false so that you remove the earlier copy you did before. Okay, so basically that's how it works. So let's quickly try to run it again, and we amended the range, and there we go. It looks perfectly fine now. Alright, so that's how you basically modify your macro, and you can do it the same across all the different macros here. Very simple, just press alternate F8 on your computer and just open whichever macros you want to change. So for instance, quarter 1, 2, 3, 4, let's say quarter 3, edit it. Quarter 3 is pulling out the macro on the slices, which is the slices on the months, and it's only showing true for slices 7, 8, and 9, right? Because quarter 3 is just July, August, and September, so 7, 8, and 9 is correct. Now if you go for quarter 4, it's only showing up true for October, November, and December. So that's how it works. Even for those slices that you're working on the ranks, all of that, like true, false, false, true, it's only showing up true for your managing director because it's the managing director macro. If it's for the executive director macro, it's only showing up true for the executive director macro. Okay, that's basically a nutshell how you can make changes to your macro. Now lastly, if you just want to delete your macro, it's very simple. Look at all these objects that have macros assigned to them. Right? If you want to delete it, very simple, just assign macro and delete this. Okay, delete this. That's it. And once you've deleted it, when you click on the object, you click on the button, there is no effect. Okay, so that's it. That's a nutshell of this chapter. Very simple, very quick, very easy. I hope that you learn a thing or two how to modify your macros. Don't be too overwhelmed by the VBA script inside, just take your time, understand what variables are talking about in those macros, and then make changes to it if it makes sense, alright? Worst case, you can just restart the macro and do it all over again. Okay, so that's it for this chapter. I hope that's been useful. I'll see you in the next chapter. See you!